So good evening everyone and welcome to Inside Line Racing with me, Alex Lilliot. Tonight it's time for possibly the biggest test these drivers will face, Survive Monaco. This circuit is not for the faint-hearted or the scared. You need balls of steel to tackle this circuit with Armco barriers eagerly waiting to accept any driver who dares to make a mistake. Qualifying positions are crucial as overtaking is limited to maybe just 2 or 3 places. The drivers have a love-hate relationship with this track, and it's certainly one that separates the men from the boys. So the Monaco Grand Prix then, nestled next to the French Riviera, the cars climb and drop down hills as well as steer their way round the harbour front. A 2-mile long circuit contains a total of 19 corners with 1 DRS zone along the main straight. It's a short burst from the start line to Saint-Devote, and this will be the best place to try a possible overtake. Intervalos hairpin and the harbour chicane provide other possible opportunities, but you have to time it right and have full faith in the car ahead of you. Good evening then. Sorry that the stream is up a little late than normal. I had trouble getting it started for some unknown reason, but here we are then at Monaco. Every driver is pretty much out on circuit at the moment. It's looking very overcast. If anyone out there in the chat does know what the weather forecast is going to be for qualifying the race, do pop it in there so I have a bit of understanding of what's going on. So we have plenty of lap times in there straight away. Everyone out there on the soft tyres as well. Yellow flags keep popping up in Sector 1 and Sector 2. A few drivers also coming back into the pits, and we've got Rafa there on an outlap at the moment. So it's ILR Louis currently holding down provisional pole with a 108.625. Just half a second away from him, or half a tenth away from him, is VSR Onyx, who's back in the pits. Lickle in third, ILR Yanul, and boy does he need a strong performance tonight, in fourth, and Sparks also up in 5th place as well. We've still got plenty of drivers out there, plenty back into the pits as well after initially doing their first run. We'll come down to Will Murdoch then, who is a reserve driver making his debut tonight in ILR1. And talking about drivers, then we might as well just touch on that quickly. So penalties tonight, you can see down in 17th place, it's me in the Racing Point, has already retired from the session. He picked up a qualifying ban after retiring his very healthy car, or still healthy car, at Baku. He picked up a qualifying ban for Spain. He was a no-show at Spain, which is why he's now serving it here, as Will Murdoch moves up after his second time run into 8th place on a 109.051. Poe coming back into the pits as well. Sterling is out there, so we might as well jump aboard with the Ferrari driver. So reserve drivers, as I mentioned, Will Murdoch making his debut tonight. He's replacing Speed Barry in the Mercedes, and Sparks has now moved up into a full-time drive for the Red Bull team. I think that team he's pretty much been reserving for most of his season. That's due to Kornhoff. He's left ILR1. Not too sure what the reasons why. I think he's just been a bit disillusioned with a few incidents that he's had recently, and so he has left the league. We were missing one driver tonight. That's Lakitu in the Ferrari, which is why Sterling is the sole Ferrari here tonight, just making a bit of a mess of the harbour chicane there. So Lakitu is not racing. We have 19 drivers that will be starting this race. I don't think we'll be having 19 at finish. So a few drivers still yet to set lap times. Good evening everyone that is coming into the chat. Hope you've had a nice weekend, and hopefully we'll have a bit of an entertaining qualifying and race for you guys. So the Drivers and Constructors Championships, things are now starting to take shape. Sixth race of 21. Truesdale still leads. He's finished on the podium at all of the 5 first races of the season. It'll be a tough ask for him to be up there tonight as well, but he leads on 94 points. VSR Wayne second place on 65, just 4 points ahead of his teammate Rafa on 61. ILR Louis in 4th place on 50, and Onyx in V Williams in 5th place on 37. As for the Constructors Championship, Alfa Romeo lead the way on 126, Toro Rosso second place on 95, and it's Mercedes 64, Williams 41, and the Haas team on 40. So Gonanen brushing the wall a couple of times, a few locks up as well, but he's coming around Anthony Nogues, opens up the DRS, short burst to the line. His first time lap is good enough for 4th place. So the Haas drivers again putting in a good qualifying performance. Lickle up into 3rd place at the moment, Gonanen into 4th as well. And a few people in the chat there, well, everyone in the chat base saying Vamos Charles Leclerc. Yes, indeed. If you have not seen the Italian Grand Prix, spoilers ahead. But Charles Leclerc put up with a lot of pressure from both Hamilton and then Bottas towards the end to win his second race in 2 weeks in front of the adoring Tifosi. And a bit of a stat fact there: he's managed to do for the first time at Italy what Vettel has failed to do in the last 5 seasons: win at Italy in Ferrari. So a bit of a dig there at Vettel. But we'll move away from that and focus back on this. Just over 10 minutes, 10 and a half minutes minutes left of the session. Sparks then, this is his first full-time drive in ILR1. He has deputised as a reserve driver, mainly for the Red Bull team, but a few others as well this season, and he is getting stronger and stronger as each race goes by. But now he's finally being deemed, I don't want to say deemed good enough to have a full-time drive, but he's certainly, you know, consistent in turning up, and he is a quick driver, currently in 6th place at the moment, just a couple of hundredths ahead of his teammate Liam Yeo, and this would be a good opportunity for Sparks to show everyone what he can do now he's got that full-time drive. We've got yellow flags in sector 2, that could be literally anyone, anywhere, and we haven't got anyone buried in the wall just yet. So Francis then, and our Francis out on the circuit for the Toro Rosso team, excuse me, as Onyx takes provisional pole for Williams with a 108.581. I'll be expecting lap times to be relatively close here. We've got a car off the circuit up ahead, and hopefully we can find someone that's about to start a flying lap. We've got debris there on the exit of Tabak as well. Will Murdoch is about to come out of the final couple of corners, so we'll take a lap on board with Will Murdoch then, as he's just backing off a little bit. Is he letting someone through? Not too sure. Nope, just setting himself up. So here we go then, a lap of Monaco in qualifying, over the start finish line with the DRS open. Brake heavily for Sant Devot, try and take as much curb as you can on the inside, and then it's the nice blast up the hill now past Beau Rivage turn 2 into turn 3 Massenet, a very long looping left hander here. Be careful of the inside wall, then straight into Casino for turn 4. Keep away from the bump on the left hand side, and into turn 5 Mirabeau. Locking up the front right, over to the right hand side for the Grand Hotel hairpin, or the Lowe's hairpin. He's made a little bit of a mess of that, but into the second part of Mirabeau now, then just running underneath the Zepter sign into Portier, turn 8, long right hand, little right hander there. Keep away from the barrier on the left hand side, and now flat out through the tunnel, reaching probably the highest speed you will on this circuit, down into the Nouvelle chicane. Then pick your braking right, careful of that barrier on the inside there. You don't want to clip the rear wheel on that. Through 11, up now into Tabak, a very, very, very quick left hander here at turn 12, now into the piscine section, 13, 14, 15, 16, which has been opened up in the last few years. Now down to Rascas with the bar on the right hand side, turn 17. Short burst into Anthony Noakes, turn 18, and then 19 as well, which is really a corner. Open up the DRS over the line, and Will Murdoch with another time lap improves from 9th up into 4th place. Seemed like a relatively clean lap, a couple of lockups here and there, but he kept away from the barriers, and that's all you can ask from all of these drivers tonight. Just keep it clean and get to the finish. And at the moment, both the Mercedes drivers doing well, 2nd and 4th for them. So we try and find a few other drivers then. We've got Gonan, and I can't move up for some unknown reason, so we'll move down. We've got Sparks, Truesdale back out there on circuit. We'll have a look at the tyres. Everyone is still on the soft tyres. Strategy here, soft onto mediums, mediums onto softs. If there's a few people that have to make pit stops early on in this race to fix potential accident damage, which might happen in the first couple of laps, they might bowl and set hard tyres and try to get them to the end of the race. So then everyone now starting to jump into the stream. 29 watching at the moment. Good evening to each and every single one of you. And this is Truesdale then on another hot lap. He's a 10th up, just over a 10th up on his previous best, but he's going to have to find about best part of over half a second here if he wants to get himself up on the front row of the grid. And the championship leader at the moment will be wanting to stamp his authority and remain at the top of the standings. He has a healthy gap, to be honest. He's 29 points ahead of Wayne behind, so he can afford to DNF here and Wayne pick up the win and still hold on to the lead. But it's a good opportunity tonight and every race that comes on from now on for Truesdale to continually extend that championship lead. A few points here, a few points there, as Louis retakes provisional pole with a 108.560. Truesdale very quick through the swimming pool section, now into Rascas, locking up the front right, which we've seen quite a lot from some of these drivers tonight. And then out of the final corner, Anthony Logues opening up the DRS, hugging the pit lane wall for the quickest line, run to the line, and he moves up all the way into provisional pole with a 108.490. That's what we kind of expect from Truesdale. 7/100ths of a second quicker than Louis, and a 10th quicker than Onyx, who is out there at the moment. Just he's on the fast lap as well. We've got yellow flags in sector 1 and sector 2. And I think we'll be seeing a lot of yellow flags tonight during this race. We've got another yellow flag in sector 2, so I think someone really has binned it. It might very well be Paris. No, he's in sector 3. We've got a yellow flag. It might be Paris, and actually just going a bit slowly as we filter through all the drivers. Rafa and Wayne. Disappointing so far for them in qualifying. Wayne just backing off a little bit there to give himself a bit of space from the car in front of him. The Alfa Romeo drivers, second and third in the championship, currently sitting in 13th and 14th, and this is probably the most crucial qualifying session of the season for all of these guys. Track position is key. You want to be starting towards the front as best as you can, and this is Wayne just negotiating turn 4. Well, turn 3 and now turn 4 on the run down the hill. Your silver drivers move over to the middle of a circuit there. There's a nasty bump on the inside, which you do see in real life F1 as well. This, of course, being a street circuit. There's bumps, there's gradients, there's other little tricky things out there, and that bump is really highlighted on this game. Silver drivers just moving over to the right hand side, keeping away from that bump, making sure that the car doesn't become unsettled when you slam on the brakes going into Massenet. So VSR Wayne carrying on at the moment. He's got a couple of cars ahead of him. Aaron has crashed, I believe. Oh, he has. Yeah, look at that. He's made a bit of a mess there. We'll come on board with Rafa, who's just coming out of the tunnel now. His car might still be there. It might have left. No, it's still there. So he's... Oh, and Rafa's seen the car and he's had to take avoiding action. Oh, and then the back end steps out as well. So that lap from Rafa is probably ruined because of it. We'll come back to his teammate Wayne, who's still pushing on then. I didn't see the sector time, but he's either made a mistake or abandoned it. Come back into the pits, and Rafa will be doing the same as well. So It's Me retired at the beginning of the session. Having a qualifying ban. Aaron Collingwood has just crashed at the Nouvelle chicane. And we've got Big C coming in there. Worth saying how difficult / slow the pad is here. So Louis is insane. Yes, the pad v wheel debate continues to go on. With each passing game, sometimes wheel has an advantage. Other games, it's the pad. But round here, the pad is at a big disadvantage. Certainly down into the Lowe's hairpin, where you have to put on the mother and fathers of all steering lock just to get round there, whilst those on the wheel can just have a nice little flick of the wheel and get round quite comfortably. So those on the wheel tonight will be better, I should say, than those on the pad. They won't be completely immune to making mistakes, but certainly those that are here with a pad tonight will feel the struggle. So we might see a few wheel users further up the order than where they usually are, and it's going to be something to keep an eye on in this race. We'll be seeing plenty of mistakes in this race. You can bet your bottom dollar on that one. Will we see a safety car, virtual safety car? Remains to be seen. So we've got the lull at the moment towards the end of the session, but there are a few cars out there giving it full beans with a relatively empty track. There's only about 5 or 6 cars out there at the moment. Sterling is still the only driver yet to set a lap time. Aaron's 23.3 is a nothing lap. Same for Francis as well, but 16.5. So Gonanen and Lickle, where they were 3rd and 4th, they've now been pushed down to 6th and 7th. Zonix, Murdoch, Truesdale, Louis and Liam Yeo have all set quicker lap times. Just gone and then coming up the Nouvelle chicane, now into Tabac, turn 12. Oh, he's clipped the wall on the exit there, and he's damaged that front wing, so he might carry on if he's still up on his Delta. But I wouldn't be surprised if he comes back in. He will have time to come back in, fix that wing, put on another set of tyres and go again, and that's exactly what he's doing. And Lickle out on circuit at the moment, just come around to start his first flying lap. You can see quite a few drivers are still running the pink helmet. It could be either in tribute still to Anthony Hubert, of course, passed away in F2 last week. It could be a case of they just have forgot to change back to the normal helmet. But I'd like to think a few people out there still showing a tribute to the fallen French driver who succumbed to his injuries last week. So Lickle now then starts his flying lap. It'll be his final flying lap as well. We won't have enough ERS or fuel to complete it. Absolutely thrown that car into turn 3 and through Casino into turn 4. Cars are obeying the law and staying out of the way and trying to find their own track space. He's a 100th of a second up on his previous best. He needs to find just under a 10th to get up onto 5th place at least, but you can see there the field very close. It's 1.3 seconds between 1st and 16th, and that'll probably be a little closer once this session is over. And Lickle really hustling and bustling this car around this circuit down into the Nouvelle chicane. We were seeing Aaron crash a couple of minutes ago. Now through to back again. Will he make the same mistake his teammate did and clip the outside wall? Nope, not this time. Lickle very calm and composed through there. Now through the harbour front as well. Very quick through there. Oh, just lighting up the rear tyres a little bit. Correcting that snap oversteer. Lock up again into Raskas. Now into anti-nose for the final time. Open up the DRS. Again, very twitchy on the rear. They're really fighting the fact these cars have got no traction. And Lickle fails to improve. He was slower there by almost half a 10th of a second. So he might go again, but he hasn't really got enough ERS left to do it. Liam Yeo and Louis are now starting their final laps. In fact, Louis just completed his final lap as an improved by a couple of attempts to a 108.357. and he's managed to get ahead of Onyx again, and Onyx is now coming across the line to start his flying lap. Murdoch is he should have enough time to get round. Truesdale is just starting his as well. Liam is already down in sector 1. I don't think anyone else further back can really jump up there. Maybe one of the Alfa Romeos, but we'll stay with the guys that are at the front of the field at the moment. So Liam Yeo will be the first to cross the line, and then it will be Truesdale, I think, just behind him. Yanul has popped up into 5th place for McLaren. That is a morale-boosting performance for him and that team. They have struggled quite a lot this season. So Liam Yeo then will jump on board. We've got yellow flag in sector 2, so someone's had an off behind him. And yellow flags keep popping up all around this circuit. And Liam Yeo then, of course, he probably should have, would have, could have won at Baku if it wasn't for Francis getting in his way. And Francis served a full race ban for that last week at Spain. So at the final corner, opening the DRS, can Liam Yeo improve his 8.6? He can by just a couple of hundredths of a second, but he has failed to improve his position. So we'll come back to Sparks is abandoned. Truesdale now coming into the final couple of corners. He's got Onyx ahead of him as well. So we'll look at Onyx first of all then. He's lost his front wing, so we'll forget about that. So Truesdale, who got a little bit of a toe, might have helped him. It didn't. And he's failed to improve on his 4th position as well. So we'll come and have a look at Will Murdoch. Where was he in sector 1? Where is the Alfa Romeo drivers? Here comes Rafa across the line. He has improved, but it's only 11th. Rafa has only improved into 11th place, and Wayne is nearly 2 tenths down on his sector 1 time. Blizzard will have a look at as well. He's been poor by his own standards. We'll see if he can improve from a very lowly disappointing 15th. He can. It's only 11th place for him. So where's Wayne in all this? He's now coming into Rasgas. We've got Sparks on the left. He's abandoned his lap. 5th place for him. And Wayne's abandoned his into the pits as well. And I think that might be it. Will Murdoch's still waiting to finish unless he's made a mistake. Murdoch's backed out. So yes, Liam Yeo is back in the pits as well, and that is it then. That is the session over. So Louis has taken pole position here ahead of Onyx in 2nd. Good performance by Will Murdoch, the reserve driver making his debut in ILR1 in 3rd place. Championship leader in 4th in Truesdale, and first full-time drive for Sparks in the Red Bull completes the top 5. So just to confirm, we've already been through the top 5, you can see there, completing your top 10 then, and all starting on the soft tyres. Yanul in 6th place, he'll be very happy with that one. Liam Yeo in 7th, Lickle in 8th, Paris in 9th, saw nothing of him in qualifying, he's in the top 10, gone on and completes it. Outside of it, Blizzard, that's probably his best qualifying of the season, I think, in 11th, ahead of Rafa, he'll be disappointing with that. Sterling in the sole Ferrari is in 13th, ahead of Poe. Lambo, VSR Wayne, disappointing from the 2nd place guy in the championship is 16th. Francis and Aaron Collingwood didn't set competitive lap times, and It's Me had a qualifying ban. 1.2 seconds separates for top 16 drivers. I'm going to take a short break. I'll be with you guys on the formation lap. So the driver's now on the formation lap, being led by the Mercedes of ILRT Louis, who is a pad user. Just want to point that out. This guy is from another planet. I did mention in qualifying the difference between the pad and the wheel. Around a circuit like Monaco, traditionally, pad users will have a tougher time with it. But Louis showing away for those on the pad, taking pole position here. So we'll bring up the tyre graph then, of course. Top 10 starting on the tyres, they set their best lap on, all on the soft tyres, and only LR Poe down in 14th has copied them, going for a fresh set of soft tyres. Everyone else further behind onto the mediums. It's going to be crucial first couple of laps to make sure you don't have to make an early pit stop to come off your strategy. And it'll be crucial as well that the soft runners do pick the right time to make a pit stop. The last thing I want to do is come up behind a gaggle of cars on the medium tyres, because they know they'll be stuck there for several laps. The medium runners will go as far as they possibly can. A few people there on the grid. It looks like they've been a bit naughty. It's me rounding all up, having served his qualifying ban, and what a track to have to do it. He's just hit the back of Aaron, and I won't be surprised if his car is now reset to the circuit. Indeed it is. So it'll be Francis bringing them all round. But we'll come back to Louis, who's at the front of the field. So 39 laps here around the streets of Monaco. It's dry in qualifying. Looks like it's going to be dry in the race as well. Short burst to turn 1. Will we see any incidents? Hopefully the camera will change, because this is not the one I want, to be honest with you. So the 5 lights are coming on now as we get ready to go racing in Monaco. Out they go now, and the tyres are lit up, and please change. It has now finally. Louis with the inside for turn 1 keeps it as well. Here comes Will Murdoch. It's going to be a Mercedes 1-2 as the rest of the field all filter through. We've got a Red Bull in the background that's clipped the wall, but Will Murdoch and VSR Onyx side by side on the run up to the hill. The Williams driver has the inside. Can he keep that P2 though and force Will out? He does. So the top 3 stay in the same positions. Truesdale in 4th, Sparks still in 5th, but a great start from Louis, holding on to P1 off of the line. Further back, we'll have a look at the field as they all filter down through the lows here. A few side-by-side actions. Oh, we've got Sterling punting the rear of Blizzard there and damaging his front wing. We've got a few cars further back as well that are tripping over each other. Don't be surprised to see pit stops at the end of lap 1. So Rafa then in 12th place. Lambo's getting past Sterling, he's got that front damage. And we've got Poe as well in 15th. Wayne only in 16th. Francis, It's Me and Aaron further back as well. We'll come back to Louis then, into to back for the first of 39 times. He's already got a full second lead over Onyx. We've got yellow flags in sector 2. It's VSR Wayne. What's happened to him? It looks like he's clipped the wall at the Nouvelle chicane and damaged that front wing as well. There's going to be a few drivers in the pits at the end of lap 1, but Louis won't be. He's going to carry on, kept it clean, kept the lead at the start, and they'll be looking to build a gap over Onyx behind. We've got Liam Yo coming into the pits, Blizzard, Rafa, a few others will be in as well. A lot of the medium runners are going to have to change strategy here, then possibly go into the hards to the end of the race. But a good start by Louis. Onyx as well, holding off the challenge from Louis' teammate tonight, Will Murdoch, and Truesdale remains in 4th, Sparks in 5th as well. So 4 drivers in the pits then, Blizzard, Rafa, Liam Yo and Sterling. Looks like they're all going on to the hard tyres. And further back then, is keeping pace with the guys so far. It's going to be follow the leader for a lot of this race, as you can imagine. Nickel, Gonanen, 8th and 9th. Lambo, both the McLarens in the points. Not the first time we've seen that. Will they stay there at the end as well? Poe has made a couple of positions up from the start, but I think it's down to people basically having to pit. So we'll look at the position changes then. Indeed, It's Me up to 13th place then, after starting at the back of the field of a qualifying ban. Very late on the brakes there, with LR Francis to meet in this racing point sandwich at the moment. Poe and It's Me have made good progress, as has LR Francis, up 5 positions. Aaron up 4 as well. You can see the bigger losers there at the bottom of the field, all having made pit stops, of course. And Francis getting it very wrong there going into La Rascasse. And Poe pits in. So Poe obviously had damage on that front wing as well. And I think Wayne will probably be in. He is indeed. And Rafa picks up a 3-second time penalty for exceeding track limits at the Nouvelle chicane. So lap 3 of 39, DRS is now being enabled. Just one shot of the DRS across the main straight. It's the best opportunity to make an overtake as well into turn 1. But there are a few other opportunities out there as well. But you need total faith, as I said in the notes at the beginning of qualifying, in the car in front, that he sees you and gives you the space if you're alongside. It's incredibly difficult to overtake around this circuit. So Louis still leads. Onyx in 2nd, Will Murdoch in 3rd, Truesdale 4th, Sparks in 5th. Dropping Yanul a little bit, who's now got Paris up behind him, giving him the harry on as well. Lickle, Gonanen and Lambo complete the top 10. There are gaps forming towards the back of the top 10. But the top 5 are certainly keeping pace at the moment. To jump on board with Sparks in his first full-time drive in ILR1, a driver I've been quietly impressed with, going about his business. And with Kornhoff leaving ILR1, it freed up a space for one of the reserve drivers. It was handed to Sparks. And now his first taste of full-time driving in ILR1 begins at Monaco. And he's doing everything right so far, running in 5th place, keeping pace with the top 4. Louis, Onyx, Will Murdoch and Truesdale pulling him along quite nicely. Back to Yanul, and then Paris in 6th and 7th. And then the 2 Haas drivers are Lekil, Gonanen, and then the second McLaren of Lambo. We haven't had a yellow flag for about 30 seconds, so that's the cleanest I've seen tonight's racing so far. We seem to have a yellow flag constantly out in qualifying, and well, the start went clean. I thought everyone made it through turn 1 fairly comfortably. Liam Yeo did get a bit of side-on action and I think slapped the wall in the exit of turn 1, but other than that, everyone did behave themselves. It sort of all fell apart at the Lowe's hairpin with pretty much one-way traffic through there and cars tripping over each other, which is why a few guys have been in the pits, and both the Alfa Romeos have made pit stops to fix front wings. So the team running number 1 in the Constructors and number 2 and 3 in the Drivers' Championships, currently running in 17th and 19th. They'll be hoping and praying for maybe a safety car or lots and lots of retirements. Paris very close to the back of Yanul, might have an opportunity with the DRS. No position changes at the front, although Louis is running a train of 4 or 5 cars at the moment. And you can see that even with the DRS, it's very difficult to try and make an overtake. So we'll come back to Onyx then. Louis was a second clear a couple of laps ago. That gap has now completely diminished away. And it could be Louis just playing the patient game here. He knows he has the lead of his race. He just has to position his car well. Make sure that he chooses the right time to make a pit stop. Don't make a mistake. Put it in the wall. Nothing like that. Poe down in 18th picks up a 3-second time penalty. Most of the time penalties will be at turn 1 and at the Nouvelle chicane. They're the only places that really have run-off areas, as Blizzard picks up a 3-second time penalty as well. He's down in 14th and not enjoying life at the moment. His teammate though is going from strength to strength. Although he'll be hoping for a couple of more positive results. Only sitting on 37 points. Onyx has been running consistently at the front of the field all season, and to see him the best part of nearly 60 points behind Truesdale is a shock. So Onyx will be looking for a good result tonight and to outscore the Toro Rosso driver. So Louis now 7 tenths ahead. Oh, and that's Will Murdoch in there making a big mistake coming into the final corner, and he's dropped all the way down to 5th place. I don't know if he's made contact with the wall. Did he just go in a bit too deep? Front wing looks fine. It does. So Will Murdoch there, just a little bit of a mistake coming through Anthony Noakes, and he's dropped out of 3rd place down to 5th. It's a gift to Truesdale and Sparks. They probably won't have an easier overtake all night, and it gave Yanul half a chance into turn 1, but the McLaren driver couldn't capitalise. And Yanul then has resisted the threat from Paris and is now starting to give chase to the guys at the front as well. The top 7 all very close together as Sterling makes another pit stop and has been speeding in the pit lane as well. So Sterling in the pits for the 2nd time in 5 laps and now has a 5-second stop-go penalty. Rafa picks up a 3-second time penalty. The guys at the back of the field really are struggling. It might be the hard tyres or it just might be their own abilities. I'm not too sure what. Sparks and Will Murdoch straight away pick up 3-second time penalties. So they are abusing the track limits at the Nouvelle chicane. It really does seem to be the place where these drivers are getting caught out. You can get caught out there as well in the exit of the swimming pool section. And we got a Mercedes in. That's Louis in the pits then. That's an early pit stop as I can get to him. Is he having a front wing change or is it just the earliest of pit stops? It is. He's going from the softs onto the hard tyres. This is a strange strategy call because these soft tyres can go a bit further. This might be the disadvantage of using a pad. This is the disadvantage you get. He's an alien at the game. We know he's super quick. I've known the guy 4 years. He seems to get quicker with each passing game. But maybe the issues with running a pad is does a sort of increase the tyre wear rate, if you like. So maybe he's had to make an early pit stop and go onto the hard tyres. That's a disadvantage for Louis. He's in clean air, so he won't mind that too much as Liam Yeo is back in the pits for the 2nd time. So I think this is another front wing change, and this is really a race that some of these drivers can forget. Sterling with another penalty as well. So Onyx now leads this race. Truesdale, Sparks, Will Murdoch, Yanul and Paris very close behind. So it's a 6-way fight at the moment. We'll jump on board with the Toro Rosso driver, putting a lot of pressure on that rear wing of Onyx. Will the Williams driver manage to resist the charge, resist the pressure, and focus ahead? He doesn't want to be spending too much time looking in his mirrors. Good exit out of Anthony Nozo, so Truesdale will be able to do nothing into turn 1, even with the DRS. And again, these drivers all going through turn 1, all keeping it away from the wheel. Paris just lagging back a little bit, just keeping an eye on these guys, and Lickle and Gonanen are not too far away either. So the top 8 all on the soft tyres, 9th, 10th, 11th and 12th all on the mediums. They're the tyres they started on. 13th down have all made at least 1 pit stop. Some drivers have already made 2. Blizzard there with another 3-second time penalty. So it's quite clear that some of these guys are keeping it clean, others really are struggling with the track limits out there. And possibly for the first time this season, we might see a driver disqualified for too many time penalties. And look how close Truesdale is to the back of Onyx. Onyx, for the first time then, feels the need to defend into the Nouvelle chicane. And it would have been more of an acute exit from the corner as well. But Truesdale put the power on a bit too early, just spun up the rear tyres, back end stepped out a little bit. And Truesdale really is now starting to put the pressure on Onyx. These drivers will now start to be thinking about when the pit stops need to be made. We've got Poe and Blizzard having overtakes. And I think Poe there might have just had an overtake into Massenet, I believe it is. Is it Massenet that corner? It might be. I can't remember. So I struggle with the corner names around Monaco. It's one of the circuits where I do struggle, as Lickle makes a pit stop off of those soft tyres at the end of lap 8 as well. He's going onto the hard tyres. So obviously he's pushed his tyres a bit too much. Oh, and Blizzard absolutely clouts the inside wall into the Nouvelle chicane there. He locked up heavily on the front left, ruined the steering. He's clouted the barrier. He's destroyed the front wing. He has no grip whatsoever. He needs to slow down, otherwise he's in the wall and out of the race. And look how much steering angle he's had to put on that Williams just to get it around the corner. And Blizzard then into the pits for the second time in this race. And what a poor season he's having. His teammate though going strength to strength, resisting the pressure from Truesdale so far. Everyone else very close behind, the top 6 very close, and I think Gonanen is slowly creeping in on that as well. So it could be a case of Onyx looking behind rather than looking ahead, defending this lead. Has slowed his pace down just a little bit. Francis and It's Me, who had the qualifying ban, already inside the top 10, taking advantage of a lot of other drivers' misfortunes. We've got Jai Fletcher coming and saying Onyx has damage, so possibly Onyx has damage to his front wing. We'll try and find better angles. We've got more pit stops, and Gonanen and Paris all in to make the change onto the medium tyres. We need a better camera angle here to see if Onyx does indeed have a bit of end plate damage on that Williams. It would explain why a few people are clambering all over the back of him. Can't see it here just yet. Could be just a visual thing. Maybe he does have a little bit of damage. So Truesdale may or may not know that, may or may not have seen that, which is why he's applying as much pressure as he can. Can he try again into the Nouvelle chicane? Lap 10 of 39. I think he's too far back. Same for Sparks as well. Well, they all keep it clean going through the chicane. No, Truesdale doesn't. 3-second time penalty for multiple warnings. So the leaders are now starting to rack up those ETLs. And again, I don't look at the end of the race, and at this rate at the moment, I think everyone's going to have penalties. So the order could change towards the end. And with the pit stops now happening, you can see that Louis has managed to stay ahead of Lickle and Paris, even though he made a pit stop a few laps ago. We've got Onyx and Sparks coming in. So we look at Onyx then. Is he going to have a front wing change? So I've been told that he has damage. Other team waiting for a front wing. They're not. So if he does have damage, he's going to carry it all the way through this race. He's being held in the pits as well. Why isn't he going? Why isn't Onyx going? Poe retires from the race. What's happened to him? We'll jump on board with Sterling to see if we see anything, but the safety car has come out now, and this will be an opportunity. And Sterling, keep it going in a straight line, please. Thank you very much, my old chap. So Poe's lost it. There he is. You can just see up ahead there as Sterling decides to go straight on that chicane. So Poe's lost it in the Nouvelle chicane, and we have a safety car because of it. And this is going to be, I think, possibly... Is it going to be bad news for the guys, these two that haven't pitted yet? I'm not too sure. Where's Louis in all of this? We've got our first safety car at Monaco. There could be another one. I'm trying to work out how far is Louis behind. He's 17.5 seconds behind Truesdale. These guys have got to go at a reduced pace as well. And Onyx then losing a lot of time. He was held in the pits for a long time, even after Sparks went. So maybe Onyx did have the front wing change. We just didn't see it, or it didn't show for whatever reason. Louis has damage on that front wing. Look at the front left if we get a better camera angle. I think he's damaged the end plate on that car as well. I think he's been in the wars. He has. So he's got a damaged front wing. Truesdale and Will Murdoch now in the pits. Lambo is going to be in. Francis and It's Me, and all of these guys will be in now to make the change on either to the medium or the hard tyres. Will Truesdale keep the lead of this race? Where is Louis and all this? He's not even... Oh, he's clipping Lamascas. He's coming into the pits. He's changing tyres and the front wing. So you know might take the lead of this race. Will move up. And VSR Wayne, it's all kicking off. Drive-through penalty for speeding under the safety car. Will you know take the lead of this race? It's close. Is he going to get it? I think he can race to the line. But I think Truesdale will just keep it. Truesdale was out in front, I should say. Murdoch does keep it, and Yanul has now benefited up into third place behind the safety car. Sparks into fourth, Lickle fifth, Lambo in sixth. The order has completely changed, and all of these guys with the tyres they're running will be able to get them to the end of the race. They've now caught up to the safety car. So we know that Wayne in 14th has a drive-through penalty for speeding under the safety car, and he'll have to serve that once we go racing. Further back then, so we got Onyx. Oh, and It's Me's out of the race. Has he hit the wall? I'm not too sure. We'll jump on board with Wayne and try to see if the second racing point is out. He is there. He's lost it running up the hill. It's an unusual place to make a crash. So we've lost 2 racing points in the last 2 laps. The first one, Poe retiring, is why the safety car is out. Gives everyone a bit of a chance to take a breather, including me. So this is the order. Everyone has made what will be their final pit stop. We'll call it their final pit stop, unless anything else goes wrong. So Truesdale holds on to the lead of this race. Will Murdoch in second. Yanul for McLaren is looking at a podium position here. Sparks, Lickle, 4th and 5th. We'll see if anyone's got any damage. That'll be quite telling. Lambo in 6th as well. So the McLaren guys are having a really good run here tonight. Keeping it clean, letting everyone else trip over and make mistakes, and they're gaining positions as the race goes on. Paris has been bumped down into 7th. Gone on an 8th. Francis in 9th. Onyx then in 10th as Francis peels off into the pit lane. So possibly he needs a front wing change as well. That'll promote Aaron into the top 10. Louis only in 11th place. Our pole man down into 11th place, I should say. Wayne up into 12th, but we know he's got a penalty to serve. Francis, I believe, has had a front wing change. He's going to drop down the order a little bit. Liam Yo's managed to get past him. Rafa, I don't think possibly will pass him. He does indeed. So Rafa up into 14th. Francis down to 15th. Blizzard in 16th. Sterling all the way back in 17th. All these guys will catch up with the safety car, hopefully, before it comes in. So I'm going to take this opportunity then to take a quick break, gather my thoughts before we go racing yet again around the streets of Monaco. So the safety car is coming in at the end of this lap. Sterling should be able to catch up in time. In fact, he has. And the cars are now at a reduced pace, and it'll be up to Truesdale to put the hammer down. Probably between here and the final corner would be the best time to do it. Everyone else behind keeping as close as they can. That is it then. Truesdale puts the pedal to the metal and blasts away into lap 14, holding on to the lead of this race. Will Murdoch in second place, Yanul in third as well. Will we see anyone cream it into the wall on the exit of turn 1? And to look back as well, the top 4 all on the medium tyres as Francis picks up a penalty for cutting turn 1. And further back here, look at this. This is Paris and Lambo going into battle over 6th and 7th round. A couple of corners you wouldn't see an overtake, and Gonanen might take advantage of this as well. We'll jump on board with the Haas driver. Further back, here comes Onyx. He's desperate to try and regain lost positions, and Louis will be doing the same as well. And that's a very aggressive move, bumping Gonanen out of the way there. We've got other overtakes further back into the hairpin. We've got Toro Rosso and the Red Bull stuck together. We've got Blizzard and Sterling battling as well over 16th and 17th, which goes the way of the Williams drive. But Truesdale, good restart there, as Will Murdoch just cuts the Nouvelle chicane a little bit. We've got other overtakes further back as well. Lambo and Paris are still going into battle here, and hopefully this position is now finally resolved in the Renault's favour in 6th place. So Lambo into 7th, Onyx in 8th. He'll be looking to try and push his way past as quickly as possible. Gaps are forming already further back, so Aaron, I think, has been in the wars, possibly, maybe Louis as well. And what's this all? We've got the Toro Rosso Francis up the inside of Lavascas on Liam Yo, and someone's dived into the pits. It's two of them, Gonanen and Wayne. Gonanen, I think, is in to fix damage. Wayne, we know, is in to serve his penalty. So all these drivers will move up a couple of positions. We'll come back to Onyx, who's right up behind Lambo. Look at this. Lambo's being bullied out of the way by Paris, and I think Onyx is going to do the exact same thing as well. Good exit, might chuck it up the inside. No, thinks better of it. We'll have another opportunity down into the Grand Hotel hairpin, but it's going to be a tricky move to do. I think the best opportunity, will be into the Nouvelle chicane. Lambo looks vulnerable in that McLaren, and Onyx is smelling his prey, smelling blood, wants to get up into 7th place, give the chase back up towards the front as best as he can. And look at this, great exit from the previous corner. Now up the inside into the Nouvelle chicane. Should be a clean move, indeed it is. Lambo's had to jump out of the way. There was no space for two cars to turn in there. And Onyx up into 7th place. Lambo might have damage possibly on that front wing. Seems okay. Front left, front right. No, it seems okay. Further back, we've got Adam now into 9th place. Louis giving chase in 10th as well. And Truesdale now starting to pull away from Will Murdoch as he sets the fastest lap. Oh, and Louis there just tags the inside barrier at Lavascas with that right rear wheel. And he's now open to attack from Francis behind. Louis doesn't defend into turn 1. He does a little bit. Oh, he's completely outbraked himself, and he's into the wall, and that is Louis out of the race. He got his braking all wrong at turn 1, and Louis then, our pole man, the man that was probably favourite to win this race, got his braking all wrong at Saint-Devote, and the Mercedes drivers' race is over in an instant. One mistake, one snatch break, one lock-up, one moment of running wide, one moment of over-exuberant, and we'll see you into the wall, and Louis becomes our 3rd retirement. The pole man crashing out at turn 1. So Truesdale continues to lead. Will Murdoch just staying within a second at the moment. They're dropping your null just a little bit. Nice helicopter shot here over the harbour area at Monaco. As you know, tackles the swimming pool section, lap 16 of 39. Not even a half distance yet, and so much has already happened. As Francis and Aaron Collingwood are battling over 9th and 10th. Where will that be? That'll be probably on the exit of Tabac, possibly, or just before it. Louis leaves the session in disgust. And that wouldn't have done his championship charge any good whatsoever, as Will Murdoch sets a new fastest lap of the race. So 1:11.436. And Paris and Lickle are fighting over 5th and 6th. Paris, and I think, managed to get past with the DRS into turn 1. And Paris, that's a couple of moves in the last couple of laps. So the Renault driver feeling very confident on these medium tyres. They managed to have saved a little bit of tyre life behind the safety car. Will they get to the end or not remains to be seen. They should be okay. Nickel in 6th, just dancing that Haas car around. Onyx very close behind. They dropped Lambo and Co behind as well. Just see there Lambo just coming into shot in the background. He's in 8th place at the moment. Francis and Aaron Collingwood completing the top 10. As Will Murdoch picks up a 3-second time penalty. Onyx dives it up the inside against Lickle into the chicane. Makes a nice move there into P6. And someone can confirm if they know or not. A few people coming in the chat saying Louis' brother is at fault for him crashing. Yeah, not too sure what's going on there. So, yeah, someone could confirm what happened there. Apparently Louis' brother is at fault for him crashing at turn 1. As we now come into lap 18 of 39. Almost half distance now. Rafa into the pits and retires. So Rafa's had another incident out there. Damaged his front wing, I assume. He's pulled into the pits and retired. So we're down to just 15 runners left then. The VSC has come out because of that. So we'll slow the pace down yet again. So nothing will really change here underneath the VSC. The gaps might increase or decrease a little bit depending on people's delta times, but no positions can obviously change. Truesdale and Will Murdoch certainly doing a good job here at the moment, first and second. And apparently there are a few people here in a party with Louis, and Louis' brother accidentally turned his controller left, so I'm not too sure how he's managed to do that. And unfortunately Louis' brother then has messed around with Louis' controller, his pad, and forced Louis into the wall. So that's not good. You don't want to see that, do you? And I'm sure strong words were said by Louis as soon as he retired. But we won't worry about Louis. We won't worry about Rafa, It's Me or Poe either. Their races are already over. And Will Murdoch really closed up there on the back of Truesdale. It might have been caught napping at the end of the VSC, which we're now green flag racing again. So Will Murdoch staying within a second of Truesdale at the moment. Yanul and Sparks very close together in third and fourth. Paris and Onyx very close together in fifth and sixth. Everyone else further back inside the top 10, separated a little bit. Although Aaron's got a little bit of a train behind him. Wouldn't be surprised if that Renault driver's got damage on his car again somewhere. He's got Liam, Yo, Blizzard and Sterling very close behind. A long way back, Gonanan and Wayne, who have made additional pit stops since the safety car has been out. So now it's a case of surviving, looking after these tyres and trying to put the occasional overtake on if you can. None of these drivers really need to pit again. Although looking at the likes of Blizzard, who's still got 20 laps left to run on those mediums. Same for Paris, he's completed 9 already. Sparks and Onyx have completed 8. Yanul's completed 9. So these guys will be getting close to 30 laps completed on the medium tyres, which will be a push, but should be just enough to get to the end. The safety car obviously coming out pretty much forced every driver into the pits to change onto a set of tyres they knew would get to the end. Truesdale completes lap 19 of 39 into the second half of this race. So much has already happened. And him and Will Murdoch they're exchanging fastest laps here at the moment. And they've dropped Yanul and Sparks. Paris and Onyx very close together. Jump aboard of a Williams driver. So he's going to try anything into turn 3 and turn 4, but I think Paris will be aware of that. Driving, as you can see, we're just in the middle of the road a little bit, preventing the Williams driver for a sniff up the inside anywhere. Now down into 5 and then the Grand Hotel or Lowe's Hairpin, whichever way you want to call it. No moves here. We'll come back further back as well. We've got Lambo, Francis close together, 8th and 9th, and then a little bit of a train behind Aaron at the moment. 4-car train there of Aaron, Liam, Yo, Blizzard and Sterling. And someone coming in there saying it was not accidental by Louis' brother. So there's a bit of drama there in that household. I'm sure next time Louis races, he'll be doing it in his room under lock and key. No one can get near him. He doesn't need any distractions. And apparently Louis' brother there on purpose has messed around with Louis' controller going into turn 1 and forced the Mercedes driver into the wall. Oh dear, indeed. So Lambo in 8th picks up a time penalty for cutting across the swimming pool chicane. As these guys again just follow the leader for now. Very difficult even with the DRS to try something into turn 1. Of anyone, I think Onyx is best placed to try it. Well, Sparks is very close as well to the back of Yanul. Truesdale has now managed to pull a second plus over Will Murdoch, so Will not be having the DRS anymore as it stands. So we'll see if these guys, no overtakes there into the hairpin. Onyx very, look at that, just dancing and weaving around, making that Williams loom large in Paris's rear view mirror, trying to unsettle the Renault driver. Hopefully try to force him to outbrake himself or clip the wall somewhere. Sterling picks up another 3-second time penalty all the way down in 13th place. And Onyx might try something here into the chicane. He does, and Paris gives him the space but turns in on him as well. Bit of contact between the two drivers. He initially gave him the space. And Paris and Onyx really fighting over this 5th and 6th place. You can see an accident happening at some point. We'll jump back on board with the Williams driver as well. So get a good shot of what's going on there into La Rascasse. Lap 21. More of an acute line by Paris, who's into the pits end. So Paris pitting at the end of running 11 laps on those medium tyres. This might be a front wing change. Is it a front wing change? Is he going to get a delay? He's not. Straight back out of the pits onto the hard tyres. So clearly feeling those medium tyres won't get to the end. That might be a wake-up call for some of these guys also running the mediums. I said these guys have got to go almost 30 laps on them, which is a bit of a struggle. So Paris rejoins on his own all the way down in 13th place. He'll be fairly quick on those fresh halves now, but he's got a train of 4 cars ahead of him that he's got to close by 10 seconds and then try to battle his way through. So this lap Truesdale has managed to pull out a couple of more attempts. And a long way back in 3rd as well. Sparks looking very racy to try and get into that final podium spot. Certainly don't think the action's over yet. These guys have got to remain concentrated for close to an hour here tonight. Sparks continues to give chase to Yanul. He'll have the DRS yet again coming out of Anthony Noakes. And a good exit from the McLaren driver. Sparks is a little close. He might try it. He might. He's looking. He's not. And Blizzard retires. What's happened to Blizzard? We'll jump on board with Paris. Oh, there he is. We'll jump back on board with Gonanen as well. I think Blizzard has just clouted the wall there in the swimming pool section. Indeed he has. Yellow flag's out in Sector 3 because of it. These guys are still pushing hard, so I don't think a safety car or a virtual safety car has come out because of it. And Blizzard, another retirement, another disappointing race from our defending champion in ILR1. Remains towards the bottom of the standings on just 4 points. And Louis has joined us on streaming in the chat. My brother came into my room and turned my stick left. And yeah, so unfortunately for Louis, commiserations for you. Crashing out there, but the race has started to fall away from you a little bit, but obviously the instant that's put you out of the race is obviously very unfortunate. Hopefully it doesn't happen again. Truesdale carries on, and Will has got himself back inside DRS range here, so I don't know if Truesdale's made a mistake somewhere. Obviously a slightly slower lap than we're used to from the Toro Rosso driver. Francis down in 8th place picks up a 3-second time penalty. And continuing to lose time to the top 2. Over a second a lap he's now losing really, because he's busy, really busy defending this final podium spot from Sparks. And Onyx, you can see as well, the gap last lap was 4.6, it's now down to 3.2, so it's going to be a 3-way fight for the final podium spot in a couple of laps. Lickle, Lambo separated by a few seconds, and Francis is giving chase as well to the second McLaren. So the McLaren guys, they've struggled for points this season. 3rd and 7th at the moment. Aaron in 9th, still carrying on. Hasn't disconnected from the session yet. Don't be surprised if we see it. His connection has been poor last few races. And Liam Yo currently hanging on to that final point. Paris, meanwhile, is not gaining on the guys ahead of him. So I don't know if he's been in the wars again. He was only 10 seconds back the previous lap. It's now 11.5. So maybe these hard tyres are not working for him. With Paris outside of the points now. Gonanen in 12th. We'll be hoping for a few more retirements. Same for Sterling and VSR Wayne. So then, nothing going to be changing at turn 1 between the leaders. What's going to happen further back here? Sparks is very close with it. DRS. This is the closest I think he's been into turn 1. Thinking of a move up the inside to turn 1 as well. Doesn't just give him just enough space there. But he's squeezed the Red Bull driver out. And that'll be the first real opportunity that has seen from Sparks to attempt an overtake. New full-time driver in ILR1. And he wants a podium here tonight at Monaco. And we might as well bring up then how many stops these guys have done. Sterling leads the way then. 4 pit stops so far for the Ferrari driver. 2 for Francis, Liam Yo, Paris, Gonanen and Wayne. Everyone else still running 1 pit stop. Rafa, who retired a few laps ago, had already completed at least 3. So on this lap so far has bridged a little bit of a gap down into the harbour chicane. 2 leaders ahead as well, separated by 7 tenths. So we've got a battle for first, a battle for third, which will be a 3-way fight once Onyx catches up in a couple of laps. Gap now down to 2.3. He's pulling away from Lickle behind, who's got a 1.5 gap to Lambo. Francis close behind him as well, then Aaron and Liam Yo in a little battle for 9th and 10th. So our little battles out there, difficult really to look where to see where it's going to be. Sort of moving around where the potential overtakes will be to try and catch an overtake or 2 if we do see it. And Will very close. Look at this, he's 3 tenths back again. So these guys keep chopping and changing that gap. Sometimes it's a second, other times it's as close as this. No opportunity into turn 1 from Will. No, into Lowe's hairpin, I say, from Will. Are we going to see anything from Sparks? He's had 1 attempt already at turn 1. To almost just giving a bit of a love tap there to the back of that McLaren. You won't want to do that too many times. You'll start damaging his wing, and that'll really hinder his progress. The understeer around here with a damaged front wing is pretty severe. Some circuits you can get away with it. Monaco you can't really. Certainly around the swimming pool section as well. You've got a damaged front wing around there. You will end up in the wall. So Sparks, no attempt at an overtake into the Nouvelle chicane. Oh, he's clipped the wall, and a bigger impact as well on the exit of Tabac. That's the problem. If you hit the inside of Tabac, the car will naturally be spat out onto the exit wall as well. I don't really want to see this camera angle. Has he got front wing damage? He has. He's in the pits end. So Sparks' opportunity for podium is gone. And it's a gift to Onyx, now up into P4. Sparks will probably go for a set of softs maybe if he's got any left. He has. Front wing change you can see there. So Lambo will get past. Francis will get past. Aaron. Liam Yo as well, because Sparks is still in the pits here. He should rejoin comfortably in 10th. But Sparks taking too much speed into back there. Turned in a little bit too early. Clipped the inside wall. The car got spat out to the exit side of it. Damaged the front wing straight into the pits. And the Red Bull drivers now in 9th and 10th. Here comes Paris though. He's going to have all the momentum coming out of turn 1. And he might have an opportunity against Sparks. No, he's too far back, isn't he? So he's not going to be able to get up there. So Sparks in on the soft tyres. He'll be frighteningly quick on those soft tyres. But his best part of 11 seconds behind his own teammate in 9th. Who's busy battling with Aaron ahead for now what is now P8. So a few seconds back from this little battle between Lambo and Francis for P6, and they're a few seconds back from the well, there's no other little battles ahead of them apart from the one for the lead. Now that Sparks has disappeared from behind Yanul would have been happy about that, but it'll be disappointing to see that Onyx is now starting to gain as well. And he's damaged his front wing. Front right end plate missing on this Williams, I think. Yep, it is. So Onyx is being in the wars yet again, and Will is now less than 3 tenths behind Truesdale. I think Truesdale has a little bit of damage on that front wing as well. He has. So Truesdale is running with a damaged front end plate. I don't think Will has anything on his car. It doesn't. So this will be the reason why Truesdale has got Will Murdoch all over the back of him. Truesdale has clipped the wall. Damage report for these guys. Yanul has a clean front wing. Onyx we know has damage. Lico I think is clean. Lambo should be as well possibly, although Francis is behind him. Let's have a look at Lambo's front wing. It seems okay. It is. Francis, his front wing is okay. So's Aaron's. Liam Yo, I think his car is fine as well, and we know that Sparks obviously just had a front wing change. So Truesdale is carrying front wing damage, as is Onyx as well in P4. And this race is far from over. I still think there's more action to come. Truesdale will not pit off of that P1. Why would he? He's got track position. He will keep fighting the understeering Toro Rosso as long as he remains, I think, in P1. I don't know if Will knows that he has damage ahead. He might have seen it. He might have seen Truesdale clip the wall and a bit of debris and carbon fibre flash off the right hand side of that car. And it would have been a nice morale booster for the reserve driver in the Mercedes tonight. And LR Francis in the pits then. So I don't think he had damage. And he's into the pits now. It's a late call. It's a very, very late call. The team weren't ready. So if this is a front wing change or not, don't look like it. Is he being held in the pits? He is being held in the pits. No, off he goes. So he might have had a front wing change there as well. But it was a late call. That's dropped him outside the points. That's promoted Paris then into 10th place. Sparks in 9th. Liam Yo in 8th. And again, the McLaren drivers, or Lambo, moving up the order yet again. 3rd and 6th now for the McLaren drivers. And the only real battle out on circuit is for the lead and for 7th place between Aaron and Liam Yo. Blizzard, who retired a few laps ago, now leaves the session. So we've still got 14 running. We've only lost 5. We might lose 1 or 2 more before the end of this race. And look at this, Will is right, very close to the back of Truesdale on the run up the hill. Lap 30 of 39, 10 to go, including the one the leaders are now on. And Will, they're looking at the inside into turn 3 and 4. Truesdale's car obviously starting to understeer quite a bit. And Will think about a move. He does think about a move, and Truesdale's got to give him the space. And I think Will might have clipped the wall there, and he's fallen back into position. Does that Mercedes driver have damage? It doesn't. So I think Truesdale might have a bit more damage on that front wing. I don't know. No, seems okay. Just the end plate missing. I say just the end plate because quite clearly he's rattled by that a little bit, because Will Murdoch applying as much pressure as he can. What a fairy tale story it would be. The reserve driver coming in, winning at Monaco. Good exit from the harbour chicane then by Truesdale. We'll have a look further back. Still going in third. Onyx is now starting to drop away. You can see the gap is now up to closer to 3.5 seconds, where a couple of laps ago it was around 2.5. We've got Francis and Sterling exchanging positions. Sterling is going slightly slower. So Francis has managed to get back up into 12th position now. Got Sparks frighteningly quick on these soft tyres. Throwing it into back for all of his might. Giving chase to his teammate ahead, who's already completed 23 laps on these hard tyres. And he's stuck up behind the Renault of Aaron. This is a battle for 7th place. Another time penalty for Francis, one for Sterling as well. Of course, time penalties could change. Will definitely has at least one 3-second penalty, probably more. Truesdale, I don't think so. If anyone in the chat knows for fact if Truesdale has penalties, do put it up, because I know that Will has at least 3. So maybe Truesdale knows this as well, and all he's got to do is just defend that position. Francis and Sterling into the pits again, I assume. Francis back in, he's only completed a lap on these soft tyres, and Wayne is gifted 2 positions, and it is damage on the front wing there for both of his cars. And Sterling back out in 14th. Might get the jump on Francis, who's still in the pits. Will he get out ahead? He does, just about. And Francis and Sterling really being in the wars tonight. As the leaders come through to complete lap 31 of 39. Truesdale still holds on to this lead. Oh, there's lap cars up ahead. Are they going to politely get out of the way they should? Sterling does. And I think that Francis will see the blue flags and hopefully will jump out of the way. He doesn't want to get in the way of the leaders fighting. And Truesdale will be very aware that he wants to get past. Well, it's his teammate ahead of him, so I don't think Francis will really balk his teammate. And he won't be able to delay Will Murdoch any chance, because Will is right up behind that rear wing yet again. Jai coming in saying he has 1 penalty, he thinks. Yep, I know for a fact that he has at least 1. So if Truesdale manages to keep it clean, he's doing everything right so far. You can see there that Will not getting close enough to Truesdale. Of course, Francis and Sterling on the soft tyres, so Francis might be able to pull away from his teammate a little bit, stay on the lead lap. Truesdale and Will Murdoch throw these cars around this circuit. Oh, bit of a sideways action there from Truesdale. Will would have seen that. And he's sniffing blood here. Might get a good exit out the final corner. DRS as well. And this is, I think, it's the closest he's been coming across the line. He might send it up to turn 1. Truesdale just defends the inside a little bit. Oh, and Will there, in his eagerness to keep the pressure on, just lights up those rear tyres. 21 laps for both of these guys on the medium tyres. They'll certainly be past their best. And now with the tyre wear issues coming in for some of these guys, we're going to, I think, see some more sideways action from them. Oh, that was a tighter line there through turn 5 from Will. I think Truesdale was rattled a little bit here. Starting to see some little mistakes come in from the championship leader. And Will is really pushing this Mercedes on now. You can see that Sparks and Liam Yeo have exchanged positions. I believe that would have been a sensible one. Liam 26 laps on these hard tyres. Sparks only 6 laps on the softs, and it'll be an opportunity for Sparks to try and get past Aaron, because he's completed 21 on the hards. Francis, another penalty. I think Francis is close to being disqualified here. I did say earlier on in this race, it might be the first time this season we see someone get disqualified for too many ETL penalties. And oh, what's happened at the front? Will Murdoch's got past Truesdale. Will Murdoch has got past Truesdale for one of only a few times I've pulled away from these guys. Will has managed to make an overtake on Truesdale, possibly into La Rascasse. But remember, Will Murdoch has at least a 3-second penalty. I don't think Truesdale has any. So now it's up to Will with a fresh, clean front wing, I should say, to try and build a gap against Truesdale, who has that damage end plate. Quite clearly, Will is the quicker of the two drivers, and Truesdale's got to do everything he can to keep the pressure and keep the gap to that Mercedes driver. And Will then, 34 of 39, is now taking the lead of the Monaco Grand Prix. He will now start to feel the pressure on his shoulders. And can he keep it clean and not pick up any more penalties? We've got yellow flag in sector 2. There's a car in the wall ahead. I believe that might be Francis. It is. Francis, I believe, has gone off the circuit possibly. Has he damaged his front wing? I'm not too sure. Sterling picks up a 3-second time penalty. We don't really need to pay attention. Oh, Francis, yeah. He's in the wall again, so he definitely has a bit of front damage on that car. So Francis again probably setting a record for the most pit stops in ILR1 tonight. As Will leads and Truesdale is sticking with him. He's sticking with him at least for now with the DRS. That 35 of 39. And Francis does indeed, I think, pull into the pits to retire. So it's another driver lost, down to 13. Gonanen, Wayne and Sterling will be hoping and praying that more people retire towards the end so they can at least pick up an unlikely point or two. You see that Gonanen's very close to the back of Paris as well, who's struggling, clipping the wall as well by the sounds of it. So I think Paris might have a bit of damage on that front wing. It seems okay. Gonanen seems okay as well. So Wilvent still leads 39 of 39. I'm going to take a very, very quick break here, but do stay tuned for the conclusion of the Monaco Grand Prix. That 36 of 39, just 4 to go for Will Murdoch to hold on to a possible race win. He has penalties, I don't think Truesdale has, so the order could change between these two at the end. Yanul doing a very good job holding on to that final podium spot. We'll just quickly go through the rest of the order before we go back to the leaders. So Yanul then doing a very good job holding on to that final podium spot in P3. He's dropped Onyx now, who has the front damage. You can see that the gap is now up to 4.5 seconds. And Lickle slowly closing in as well. So Lickle might be able to put a bit of pressure on for that P4 in the last couple of laps, but he's on his own on the circuit at the moment, as is Lambo as well in P6. So much needed points for the McLaren team coming their way. Aaron in 7th place has got Sparks behind him on them soft tyres, and he's managed to keep his teammate Liam Yo behind him as well. So 7th, 8th and 9th very close together, and then completing the top 10 is Paris, who's got Gonanen very close behind as well. So Gonanen might try and overtake at some point to try and take that final point away from the Renault driver. Then a long way back is Wayne and Sterling, who have multiple penalties, multiple pit stops, multiple front wing changes. And someone coming into the track there, Oysen, saying Truesdale has 1 penalty. He saw it on screen. Right, okay then. You can check penalties in the race director if you want to know. I am aware of that, Jay. I don't like doing that. I like the suspense and the surprise at the end of the race. I like to see what happens at the end. It gets a bit silly if every 30 seconds I'm checking the race director to see who has what and trying to work out what's going on. It's easier just let the race flow, call it as I see it, and then see the position changes at the end. So Will Murdoch, we know, has at least a 3-second penalty. Truesdale, I've been told there by Oysen, has a 3-second penalty as well. We've got yellow flags in sector 2. Someone's clipped the wall. Was it Wayne by any chance? He's off the pace a little bit, I think, but we'll move away, come back to the leaders then. At 37 of 39, 2 to go at the conclusion of this lap. And Oysen coming back in saying he's 80% sure now that Truesdale has a 3-second penalty. I'm going to stop asking and guessing at this point and just enjoy the last couple of laps as these two battle tooth and nail over what will be a potential race win. Lickle picks up a 3-second time penalty. So I think he'll be okay in P5. I'm not too sure what Lambo's got, but we'll stop talking about penalties and just enjoy the last 2 laps of this race. And as Truesdale continues to giving chase to Will Murdoch, you can see that the gap is up to almost a second now. Gonanen picks up a 3-second penalty for himself in his chase for that final point. I dare not take my eyes away from the top 2. 1 momentary lapse in concentration, 1 snatch break, 1 bit of overspeed into one of his corners will see them in the wall, potentially out of this race. And it's Mercedes. It's the wrong Mercedes, I think some people would say. They would have expected Louis to be at the front of this field, but for those of you joining or are unsure what happened, Louis' brother came into the room and moved his left stick on his pad, which forced Louis into the wall at Sandevort many laps ago. And Louis, who held on to a comfortable lead at the start, but then pitted at the wrong time and fixed damage as well, dropped him down the order. He was slowly moving back up through the top 10, putting a couple of moves on, and then his brother unfortunately has come in and thrown that all the way, making Louis crash at turn 1. So finishing lap 38 of 39 into the final lap here. Sparks has a penalty in his chase for P7. Can Will hold on to cross the line in first? Whether he keeps P1 or not remains to be seen. But Will was doing everything right. Gonanen retires from the race. I'm sure that he's parked it in the wall somewhere on the exit of possibly turn 4. He has. He's clipped the inside of turn 4. That's spat the car out onto the exit. And Gonanen becomes what will be a last lap retirement then. Wayne in 11th. Sterling in 12th. We'll be hoping and praying someone else falls off the road. We don't have a virtual safety car to end this race then. So his guys are back up to full racing speed going through the yellow flag zone. Lickle very close to the back of Onyx, you can see there in his chase for P4, and the 3-car battle, it's a 4-car battle. Lambo I think's being in the wall, maybe he's got Aaron Collingwood, Sparks and Liam Yeo behind, but we'll focus on him towards the end of the race once these two have crossed it. And Will then, he's not going to be losing this position to Truesdale at Larascas or Anthony Noakes. He's going to cross the line in first unless he stuffs it into the wall, which would be heartbreak for the Mercedes driver. But coming through Anthony Noakes for the 39th and final time, he will take the win of this race, but does he keep it due to penalties? The answer is no. Truesdale takes the race victory and the 25 points. Yanul has a quiet run to P3 and should be able to keep it. Will finishes in second. Yanul in third, his first podium of the season. Onyx will just hold on to P4 ahead of Lickle, who stays in 5th place. And Sparks has managed to pass Aaron Collingwood coming into the final corner. Lambo crosses the line in 6th. Sparks, does he keep 7th after penalties? No, what's happened here in the background? Liam has crashed on the run to the line. Did he have contact with Aaron trying to get past on the run to the start finish line? I'm not too sure, but Aaron takes down 7th place. Sparks had penalties, puts him into 8th. Liam Yeo in 9th. Paris picks up the final point in 10th place. Sterling was a lap down, classified in P12, and a disappointing race for VSR Wayne. Will finish the race in 11th, but will not be enjoying watching this back, and in fact he's decided to come into the pits to finish his race. So Truesdale, by dint of having at least a 3-second penalty less than Will Murdoch, picks up another race win and extends his championship lead. But a great drive by Will in the Mercedes picks up P2, and ILRT Yanul for his and McLaren's first podium of the season in 3rd. So congratulations there to the top 3 on a slightly unusual podium at Monaco. It's only a few feet off the ground just by the cars. And Truesdale then picks up the race win and the 25 points. Will Murdoch, a very impressive display by the reserve driver in the Mercedes, picks up P2. Crossed the line in P1, had an additional 3-second time penalty, dropping him down to P2. But I think Will still be very happy with his performance, as well as Yanul. Kept it clean in the race, kept out of trouble. Didn't see a lot of him, kept himself away from everyone else, picks up his first podium of the season in P3. So there we go then. Truesdale did have a 3-second time penalty. Will had 6, which is the difference at the end. You know, did keep it clean. He might have been the only driver to not pick up a time penalty. The answer to that question is yes. Onyx in P4. He'll be happy with the recovery, but disappointed to not be on the podium. Lickle in P5. Lambo in 6 as well. Double points finish for McLaren. Aaron, the leading Renault, in 7th place, just about holding off Sparks and Liam Yeo by dint of having less penalties at the end. And Paris picks up the final point. Wayne finishing in 11th, but will be disappointing with this performance. Sterling 15 seconds worth of penalties, a lap down in 12th. We lost Gonan and Francis towards the end of the race. Francis had 18 seconds worth of penalties. Another disappointing evening for Blizzard. retired at mid-race. We also lost Rafa, Louis through no fault of his own, It's Me and LR Poe very early on in the session. Do stay tuned, and I will try to at least get the top 3 in for a podium interview in the next couple of minutes. So all 3 drivers have now joined me for the podium interviews. Guys, before we start, can you just double check your party settings to make sure you've allowed your voice to be shared so we don't get any uncomfortable silences on stream? And can you also make sure you keep your microphone muted unless of course I'm talking to you, so I don't get any background noise when I'm talking to someone else. I'll give you guys a few seconds just to double check the settings before I begin. So Truesdale, we'll come to you first of all. Crossed the line in P2, but one less 3-second penalty gifted you another win in ILR1 with the 25 points. That was a very tense and stressful last dozen or so laps, holding off Will for as long as you can with the damage on the front wing. But Will managed to get past, but he didn't pull away just enough to prevent you from taking down P1. Initial thoughts after the race, surviving 39 laps at Monaco and taking down the race win.
Yeah, first of all, congratulations to Will and Janu for the podium. And yeah, it was very, very difficult and also very lucky. In the lap I wanted to pit, there was the safety car, and basically that saved my race. And it was a bit unfortunate. I hit one of the curves at the middle part of the third sector, and it sent me in the wall. And I got the damage, as you said, but luckily I was able to save my tires just enough to stay close at the end.
Yeah, obviously the safety car coming out relatively early in the race for one of the racing points, putting it in the wall. Obviously, as you said, it gifted you the track position that you needed. A lot of other people behind you also pitted as well. Do you think then if the safety car hadn't have come out, you wouldn't have been in this position? Obviously Louis was running at the front and then he retired, and a few other people running near the front had accident damage and had to make unscheduled pit stops as well. So were you coming into this race tonight thinking to yourself, as long as I keep it clean or relatively clean and don't crash, I will have a positive result? Because Monaco is one of those circuits where it's a real love-hate relationship with all of the drivers.
Yeah, you're completely right. It's about surviving more or less, and not about driving the fastest lap in every lap. Because yeah, you're pushing the whole race and you put it in the wall in the last lap and you retire. There's no point, and there's no place where it's easier to put it in the wall than in Monaco. So yeah, you have to be very careful and try to avoid any kind of damage or contacts or penalties, and yeah, at the end should be a decent result if you can manage that.
Well, not only have you had a decent result with the 25 points for the race win, but your nearest title challengers all failed to score points. VSR Wayne's been classified in 11th. Rafa and Louis both retired as well. And it's a poor race from Onyx all the way down in 4th. A good recovery, but a poor race. He's a long way back. Your points now, you're the best part of over 60 points clear of VSR Wayne. And we're only at round 6 as well. So can you see yourself, just remaining consistent? This is, another win in ILR1, your 6th podium in 6 races. Can anyone stop you? Because it seems like you're going to wrap this title up by Germany or Hungary.
That's very kind, but I think there are a lot of people who can stop me. Although it's quite a gap at the moment, it's, as you said, just 6 races in, so there are a lot more to come, a lot of points still available, so it's important to stay calm and attend every race in its own, and concentrate, stay focused, and be consistent.
Yeah, final question for me. I believe it's Canada up next, which is another sort of a hybrid street circuit, but obviously there's more opportunities to overtake their higher speeds as well. It's fairly similar to Monaco, but there is of course room to make mistakes there and still survive. So you look into the challenge of going to Montreal as well and keeping on this impressive record you have in ILR1 so far.
Yeah, first of all, thank you, and I quite enjoy Canada for some reason. I'm not sure what it's like in this game. I didn't do too many laps there, but in general it's a track I quite like, and I hope to do well in Canada.
Well, after tonight's performance and the performances we've seen from you all season, I think you'd be a madman to be betting against you being on the podium yet again next week. But congratulations on the win, taking it from Will due to penalties. But well done on surviving, and thank you for joining me for the podium interviews.
Thank you, and good evening. Have a nice evening.
I will, thank you. It takes me on to a driver finishing in P2, Will Murdoch, a reserve driver making his debut in ILR1 and coming agonisingly close to pick up a race win at Monaco, which would be an absolute fairy tale story for you. I assume you got mixed emotions. A very, very good, strong race from you. You must be really happy with that and the points and the performance, but you must be really disappointed to just pick up that 3-second time penalty at some point, which has prevented you from having a fairy tale win here tonight.
Yeah, it's just a mixed bag of emotions. Saw Truesdale got damage about midway through the race. Thought I'd be able to capitalise on it a lot earlier than what I did, and I would have definitely liked to overtake him a lot earlier. Was pressurising him into mistakes, tapping walls here and there, losing the back end here and there, and then he made a mistake going through one of the chicanes which made him go wide at Rascast, and I capitalised on it, and then a few laps later I went and got damaged myself, which meant I couldn't pull out that 3-second gap that I needed. So overall I'm happy with P2 on my debut, but I'm quite annoyed that I couldn't get the P1 on my debut as well.
Yeah, it's still a fantastic drive and a fantastic result for yourself. Obviously, this is your first start of probably many in ILR1. We always have a couple of drivers that are not here. So are you looking to, have more opportunities to excel and impress? And are you maybe looking for a full-time drive, maybe later on in the season if someone drops out? But are you just focusing with each race as it comes? If you get the call up, jump in the car, do the practice, get the setup, and then just do a good performance as best as you can for the next few races?
Yeah, that's overall what I want. I'd love racing. I've made my way through up the ranks. I started in ILR3 at the start of F1 2018, moved into ILR2, and then got put in ILR1, and just hoping that I can get consistent good results when I am racing.
And obviously you said you've moved through the ranks, starting in ILR 3 to 2 to 1 as well. Moving up the ranks, usually, it comes down to a few things. Being consistent, turning up on a regular basis, and obviously scoring enough points to deem, the league worthy, if you like, of promoting up another tier. So as you've been moving up the ranks, have you seen your own performances improve as well? Or is it a case of you're at a good level as it is at the moment, and, you've always felt like you've deserved to be in ILR 1? Or is it a case of with each passing race, each passing week that goes by, you're feeling more comfortable, you're getting stronger, you're working the setups better, working the race strategy better, and just finding that each race that comes by it works better for you overall?
I think I'm just going with the flow, I guess. I'm definitely improving each week, getting used to setups, changing stuff here and there, which suits my driving style. Every week, I definitely am improving, and I'm just privileged to be given the shot by Jack to give me this seat in ILR1.
Final question for me then. No point really going in depth about next week's race at Canada because, of course, no one knows yet if you're going to be there or not. But looking ahead to maybe the rest of the season, are there any circuits that you're just hoping and praying that you get a call up for? Any circuits out there where you've gone really well in the past and think that if you get an opportunity to race, you can have another strong result like you've had here tonight at Monaco?
I'd say the tracks that I've done really well at, I'd really love to get a call up no matter which car it is. I know Germany, Italy and USA are normally quite good for me, where I've won in the past 2 seasons. But overall, all I'm looking is to keep improving and essentially be consistently battling the guys at the top.
Well, I'm sure if you get more call-ups, we'll be able to see more performances like you've put in tonight as well. A very, very strong debut race in ILR1. Commiserations on not taking down the race win, but still a very strong second place nevertheless. And thank you for joining me for the podium interviews.
No problem. See you in a bit.
Thank you. That therefore takes us on to our third and final driver on the podium tonight, RLRT Janul for the McLaren team. Janul, I understand you're Finnish possibly, so hopefully you've got good English as it is anyway. We'll just talk about the race as it is. Didn't see a lot of you, kept yourself out of trouble, didn't have too many battles with cars around you from the middle part of the race onwards, which you must be really happy about, just be left alone to do your job in third place. You did have Onyx closing in on you towards the end of the race, but then he clipped the wall and fell away from you. That must have been a big sigh of relief when he failed to catch you towards the end due to the damage on his car, and you keep that third place.
Yeah. I just kept it consistent with my pace every lap and had Sparks behind after the safety car and kept him behind, and then he crashed somewhere and I got the track all alone for me and just kept it out of the walls with good pace and finished in P3, so happy with that, so yeah.
Yeah, it's been a bit of an up and down season for you so far. Started off fairly well, 5th place at Australia, 9th at Bahrain, but then you had 3 races in a row at China, Baku and Spain where you retired, and now you've bounced back now with your first and McLaren's first podium of the season. Are you going to sort of use this positive result as a bit of a benchmark and hopefully start to pick up some more consistent finishes as it goes on, or do you think this race was just one of those lucky flash in the pan races where all you had to do is be quick and keep it clean and you was always guaranteed a good result?
Well, I pretty much hate the 5 first tracks on the calendar, so, and Monaco is one of my favorites. But yeah, I think my season starts now from here.
And why is it so much that you and your teammate as well from McLaren together have been struggling so much this season? Has it been a case of, as you said, the first 5 races you've never enjoyed racing them, you've been off the pace, or have you been caught up in too many incidents with other drivers, or is it just a case of you just wanted to get the first 5 done and now, as you said, your season starts from here?
I don't really know. I haven't really focused on my races before this one, so maybe that is the reason. But yeah, not focusing on the 5 first ones probably.
Well, as you said, obviously the first 5 are not really strong for you, so maybe just forget about them when you were there, and then, as you said, just focus on Monaco, which you've done with the podium, and now hopefully for the rest of the season. But hopefully now it's a good benchmark and a good springboard for you to start scoring some better results and start moving yourself and the team up both the drivers and the constructors championships. But still a very strong, cool, calm and collected race from yourself. Congratulations on the P3, and thank you for joining me for the podium interviews.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. Therefore, that brings the podium interviews and therefore the stream to a close. A very hectic, barnstorming, chaotic Monaco Grand Prix, which I think everyone would have expected. Of course, in just over half an hour time, we'll be seeing how the ILR2 and ILR3 guys get on around Monaco, and you can probably expect the same level of carnage we saw in this race as well. That won't be all the racing done though around Monaco. We've still got a few more races and other tiers as well to happen, I believe. But then next week we'll move on to Canada as well, which is going to be another fast circuit, another fast street circuit in a way, but hopefully we'll be able to see some more frenetic action. My name has been Alex ILRGT. Thank you very much to everyone that has tuned in tonight and will watch this back as well after the stream is done. That is Monaco over and done with, and we look forward to Canada next week.